Howdy, everybody. My name is Grant, and yesterday I took 43rd at the Rosemont, Illinois Regional. Pretty okay. I got my invite, and I want to do a profile on the deck that I brought. The deck that I brought, of course, was Kashtira Maliss. So here's the profile. We've got 3 copies of Dormouse, 3 copies of White Rabbit. I hate drawing more than one of these, but sometimes you just gotta play it. 1 Chessy Cat, um, 3 Underground, and 1 of each of the traps: 111, 106, and 107. This is pretty standard ratios. I don't think there's anything interesting here. I'm not playing a Lair of Darkness, so I didn't feel the need to add any more extraneous Chessy Cats than I needed, and the one suffices for this deck. Other extenders I played were Dotskaper. That's more of an engine requirement. I hate this man with my entire being. The second I get to cut this, I am cutting it. It is awful. And then 1 Goldsark. This card I would play at 7 if they let me. For the not Malice side, this is the Kashtira engine. We're playing 2 copies of Unicorn, 1 copy of Fenrir in case we draw the Unicorn already, 1 Birth, 1 Raitsoth, and 1 Terraforming. This is functionally 4 copies of Unicorn when you need it to be. Most of the time when you're going for Terraforming, you're grabbing Unicorn through Raitsoth. You're not necessarily grabbing the Underground. There was one time where I had to go Raitsoth into Fenrir because I had to draw the Unicorn. That's why Fenrir's there. If I had to describe this engine, I would describe it as awful. This engine sucked ass the entire weekend. There was never a point where I drew a Unicorn and I was like, damn, I'm glad this is Unicorn, not an N-Gauge. Going forward, I'll probably just be playing the Striker engine or some other supplementary engine, maybe the Bestials, not sure. But these cards were all terrible all weekend. I drew Birth like it was my job, and I would not play them again. I'm very negative in this profile. I actually think this deck profile is not very good. But I took it, so, whatever. For Breakers, we played 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents. This was at 1 for a while, and then there's a 1 of in the side deck that I wanted to bring in essentially every game, 2 and 3, and so I needed to have 1 card in my main deck to board out every time, and there wasn't always a clean thing. I was originally boarding out of, 1 Druiswern, but then when the matches came up where the Bestials were good, I didn't want to do that. So I just played the second Talents to put it up to 41. It was fine. Talents actually way overperformed, so I'd probably play 2 in the future, or maybe 3, depending. We also played 3 Book of Eclipse because right now it's pretty good out Detonator. And Caesar if they end on Caesar. For hand traps, we're playing 15, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, 4 Matt Staples. I decided to main deck the shifters. I shifted my opponent 5 times. 4 of those times was against Malice in game 1. So I would probably move this to the side deck in the future. It was awful. It was by far the worst card in my deck. There were many games where I would rather have seen Birth as opposed to Shifter. There was at least one game where drawing Shifter and using the Shifter actually lost me the game because I was playing the mirror, didn't know it was on the mirror. I shifted in my draw phase, set up the normal mirror board or the normal Shifter board with Firewall and Cryptor, and sometimes 07 in the back row. And then my opponent was on Striker Malice, and that deck can break the Malice board pretty easily under Shifter. So this card was completely awful. I'm moving that to the side deck. Then we've got 3 Fualos. I don't really understand when people are siding it right now. It's insane. There's many combos in Malice where you do Goldsark, go through a bunch of stuff, and then normal summon the Fualos to get another body on the field. Or you do that with Underground, or you have Underground plus Goldsark, or a Unicorn, and you just don't normal summon over the course of the combo. You use Fualos to get that extra normal summon off. And then we're playing 3 Bestials. These also overperformed. I might even consider moving up to 3 Druiswern and a Baldrake. So bring the total up to 5. They were that good all weekend. That's the main deck. It is 41 cards. Again, I think that a lot of these cards probably should have been not in the main deck. Shifter should have been in the side. Kashtira's should not have been on the deck list at all. But it was fine. I mean, I did fine. For the extra deck, we've got 1 Lingaribo. This came up as a Trap Negate once in the mirror, which I completely forgot that it could do. 1 Link Decoder. Engine requirement. I thought about playing 2 Decoders because there were a lot of times where I need is a strong word, but a lot of times where I would have liked the second one, but the Trap Negate did come up once, so, 1 Splash Mage. It's Splash Mage. Sometimes you need to do it to play through Disruption. Haggard Lizardos, which is kind of a staple in this deck at this point, just banishes from your graveyard without costs, or 4 costs, so that you can not need to be impermed. or if they imperm like the Lizardos, you still get the thing through. There was one time where I went Lizardos targeted opponent's detonator to drop its attack down to like 900, and then I would beat over it with something because it was out of materials. So, it comes up. I've never drawn off Lizardos though. That's not probably happening. One IP Masquerena. This is for if you shifter and then you want to end on like more, if you have like a lot of gas in your hand, like an extra unicorn, you can end on IP as well. IP is added to the best case scenario end board if you drew like unicorn plus dormouse, and it is what you do if you draw nothing but Kashtira cards. So IP was pretty good. I liked IP. It almost won me my last match, which I lost. 2 copies of SP. I weave through one in the opening combo, and then I like having the second one as like a backup. It's nice. There's nothing really to say about it. It's SP. For the Maliss names, we're playing just one of each. This is standard. They're all really good, and they're all very recyclable. Sometimes they can get stuck in banish hell, where you can it's banished, or especially if binder gets banished, like they ash binder's effect to come back or something. You can't just reset the GWC over and over and over again, so it's kind of gets stuck in banish hell for a little bit. But it was fine. I don't think you need to play more than one of any of the cards. I might consider playing more than one of specifically binder in the future, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's needed. 1 copy of Access Code, really good. Banishes for cost for some godly reason, and did win me many games. Firewall Dragon, this card is maybe the best end board piece if I'm able to end on it. I am ending on this almost every single time. And then Dark Fluid, this card sucked ass. So the theory with Dark Fluid, and I will probably be switching it out, but you really want to have a card that like does something that you can link off all of your extraneous men into at the end of your combo. Dark Fluid's just kind of like the best thing. Plus, you're already playing a bunch of like the extra deck stuff for Ultimate Slayer, so Dark Fluid is kind of natural. And if they lead like X'd, not only they're 4 locked, but if it's just Dark Fluid on the field, there's nothing that they really want to send Aggregator to negate. Nothing face up that they can negate very well. So like they kind of just like do it to force out the Dark Fluid, and like I don't get like the Mirror Logic send, and that's completely fine. Some people aren't even playing Mirror Logic, or they just send like Pack Bit and then they just back row the X immediately. This card's kind of bad though. It just takes a lot of extra deck space when it could be utility guys. I would consider cutting it in the future. And then like there's the 2 targets. There's Save Worm, which is what you're setting on your turn, and Mirror Logic, which is what you're setting on your opponent's turn. Mirror Logic does double duty because it's also the thing you want to send off Ultimate Slayer, which I am playing in the side. It's fine. I think I'm going to cut this package in the future. I'm not sure what I replace it with, but this was not cutting the mustard in my opinion. This deck profile is essentially like, this deck kind of sucks, but here we go. And lastly, for the side deck, we've got 3 Lancia. This card's just like so good in the mirror, and the mirror was my most popular matchup all day. I faced, I think, 5 Maliss people. I think it was 9 rounds, 5 Maliss, 3 Ryzeal, 1 Labyrinth. So it was pretty much just like Ryzeal and Maliss the entire day. Once Crystron's come out, this is going to be very good into Crystron's, so it's just going to stay in the side deck for probably ever, until Maliss eventually gets hit. It's fine. There are a lot less games that you just auto-win because you Lancia and pass. Most of the stuff I'm doing in the board is to beat Lancia. So, this isn't like an auto-win, but it's if you go first, you do your full combo, then you Lancia. It's pretty good. Called by, I was putting in this card constantly. I never wanted this in Game 1, but I always wanted it in Game 2 and 3 when Lancia was in the question. I was pretty much always taking out like a Tactics to put in the Lancia, or like a Book of Eclipse that I didn't need. It's good. Play it. You don't want to get Lancia. We're playing 3 Thrust, as well as 2 Floodgate targets for it. If they Lancia me in my draw phase, the plan is to put up like some interaction. Usually it's just IP into SP or something of the sort, and then Thrust for some Floodgate. Most decks I'm doing DDG because it's good enough in combination with IP to win the game if they go for like a really big, really impactful line to like try and kill me. Like DDG will usually keep me alive for a turn, so I get the crackback. I have all the engine in hand that I had before because they Lancia'd me, so I probably have been keeping all the engine in hand. So DDG just kind of like for generic matchups, Ryzeal, Fiendsmith, Shenanigans, etc. And for Maliss, I just put the Sanctum in because you just set the Sanctum, he grabs You grab Lancia, and then you just skip their turn back, and then hopefully you play on to the next turn. Last cards, we've got 3 Ultimate Slayer. This card, I'll be honest, should probably just be Xyz Encore. It came up once during the tournament, and it never occurred to me that this could be a possibility. But there was once a point where I was shiftering my opponent, and then I had Slayer in my hand. I was like, oh, well, this kind of sucks, but I'm going to shifter them. But if this was Xyz Encore, not only could I cut the Mirror Logic from the extra deck, but I could also just out the Detonator with no repercussions. And then like finding lethal lines under Slayer is really easy if they have an open board. So I'd probably swap the Slayer out for Xyz Encore. And lastly, we've got Dominus Impulse. This is mostly to come in for the mirror, because Impulse is crazy good in the mirror. And it's just like generically okay. I would probably be moving the Impulse to the main deck because it's still okay into the Fiendsmith cards. Like if you Impulse like a Engraver in the graveyard or a Sequence on the field, that's pretty good. So I'll probably move this to the main deck and move the shifters to the side deck. Also worth noting that when you go first, Impulse's Destruction is essentially always online. Because you always have like either GWC or TB11 in the graveyard usually, and obviously if you know you have Impulse in your hand, you can play around that. There was one time where I went Thrust, grabbed Impulse to hand, and then they nibbed me later in the turn. I was able to just Impulse the Nibiru. That was very funny. That did win me a game. Yeah, but that's the side deck. I wouldn't change anything about the side except switching out these with the shifters. These and then these would become Xyz Encore. Other than that, the side deck's very solid. That's the deck. Going forward, I'm probably going to drop the Kashtira stuff because I hate it, and I'll probably be playing the Striker cards or maybe the Bestials. I'll have to figure out which ones I like more for Columbus this weekend. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm going to take out the Dark Fluid for something else. I don't know what yet. The 2 possibilities are like Griffin or like some Topologic situations or like some Topologic shenanigans. Not sure. I might just end up Firewall Dragon. Who knows? We'll figure it out this week. But that is the deck profile. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave the comments if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer those in post. Yeah, have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.